Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign review, this time covering Alarielle. So Alarielle's start position is the Guy in Vale, same start location she's always had, and she starts at war with the Scourge of Cain Dark Elves, the same enemy that she had in Total War Warhammer 2. So as far as turn 1 enemies are concerned, the Scourge of Cain are tougher than your average turn 1 enemy. Like, most turn 1 enemies are just an absolute punching bag and just an absolute pushover, but these guys here start off stronger than you. Although their first army is not that strong, when you do eventually encounter their second army, they'll probably have recruited a fair few units into it. So it's really important that you can continue to recruit straight away and try to get Alarielle up to full stack as soon as possible. It's also really important to declare war on Nakari as soon as you can, and take him out while he's still fighting Kothik. That's really essential, and how you go about that is entirely up to you, but the way I like to go about it is capture this settlement, then Evershale, then Phoenix Gate, then when I'm at the settlement Tor Anlek, I recruit a new army and send that smaller force over to Tor Dranil rather than Alarielle, and I instead send Alarielle to the to the Shrine of Cain, and then declare war on Nakari from there. Now, if you play your cards right, he'll be distracted, and you should be able to take away a fair bit of his territory before he has a chance to deal with you. And that's, I think, the easiest way to go about it. In terms of how her early game is difficult or not, she's probably one of the slightly more challenging start positions in a game that doesn't really have a lot of difficult start positions. But I'd say overall her campaign is not overly challenging. It's just that you do have the potential for an ambitious start that can be difficult to execute. Now, let's talk about Alarielle herself. She is an amazing 10 out of 10 Legendary Lord. Not much has changed for Alarielle since Warhammer 2, which I think is a good thing. If we have a look at her trait, the Radiant, Alarielle leaves lingering bonuses on the regions she visits, which this is one of my favorite things about her. If she spends a turn in a region, you get the Power of Nature, which essentially lasts for 10 turns, because it says 9 here, but that's because it's already activated for a single turn. You've already got that one extra influence and other bonuses, right? So you've got Influence +1, Control +3, Growth +10, Chance of Winds of Magic increasing 10%, and -5 Corruption. All of that's really good, especially considering you got this in the early stage of the campaign, and it's a good way to get a lot of influence really quite early, where in the early stages of the campaign you don't have a lot of ways of generating influence, and that way you're able to activate some of the benefits, the very powerful benefits that the High Elf have to offer very early on. And you can have this active in 10 different regions at a time. Then you've got Alarielle weakens as Chaos grows stronger, which appears as a negative, but it's actually bullcrap, because Alarielle actually gets stronger as Chaos grows stronger. So yeah, that's actually complete and utter bullcrap, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then you've got Missile Strength +15% for Sisters of Avalon and Handmaiden units, which Sisters of Avalon are amazing, so extra weapon strength for them. So missile weapon strength is really good. So Mortal World's Torment, that's where the Alarielle weakens as Chaos grows stronger comes into effect. Now, I'd say most players probably never saw anything other than Mortal World's Torment at sort of rank 1, where you just have a bonus to control and corruption and leadership aura size. But if you hypothetically did get your Chaos Undivided Corruption up to, say, 75%, this is the effects of it. So recruitment cost -80% for Dryads, Treekin, and Treeman unit for that Lord's army. Essentially, you're able to get them essentially free of recruit cost with a few other things that reduce recruit cost. So you can just spam out units and get them slaughtered in a battle and just replace them immediately. So that's actually a bit of a buff. Then you've got Winds of Magic Power Reserve change -50% when increasing. See, in Warhammer 2, that used to be Winds of Magic Power Reserve -50, which was crippling for the High Elves, right? But because they nerfed all of the Winds of Magic stuff in Warhammer 3, it also nerfed this penalty significantly. This penalty only matters if you're increasing in Winds of Magic. So you have to be standing in a region that is either strong or tempestuous, and you also not have to already be at maximum. If you're at maximum Winds of Magic, then this doesn't matter at all. And if you're in a negative region, it doesn't matter. It only matters when increasing. So it's very light-handed, and also you can mitigate entirely with some of her skills, so it's just not impactful at all. Then you've got Wound Recovery time +3. Now that only matters if she actually gets wounded, because extra 3 turns of recovery means up to 8. That's pretty bad, but just don't get her wounded and you should be fine. Then you've got a series of significant buffs. Extra weapon strength for Alarielle when fighting against the forces of chaos, and extra bonus versus large. And then you've got a debuff that kind of doesn't matter again. Miscast base chance +80%. Now, here's the thing about miscasting. You only ever have a miscast chance when overcasting something. Now, the way that the miscast chance works is that it's a multiplier on the base miscast chance. Now, if the base miscast chance is 0%, then 80% increase on 0% is still 0%. So if you are in this area, just don't overcast anything and you'll be fine. So it just should never come into play. Then you've got ability, Dwellers Below. So you're getting a free use of spell. You get 2 free uses of this very powerful spell. Probably one of the most powerful spells in the game, by the way. Then you've got weapon strength plus 30% for dryads, treekin, and treeman units, and an additional 20% physical resistance, which is on top of their already 20% physical resistance. Bring them to 20%. So you can make your forest spirit armies incredibly powerful if you're in a lot of chaos corruption in your area. Now, typically speaking, that's not going to happen, but it is possible to do that. And if we have a look at her skills over here, she has a mutually exclusive line. Now, both of these lines here are both very powerful, and it just depends on what you want in your campaign. Typically, I go with Tradition Dictates, but it's entirely up to you. There's no right or wrong answer here. So at Tradition Dictates, you've got Control +2 all provinces, Income from all buildings +5%, which that one there is a little bit nerfed because it used to be Tax Rate +5%, which was more powerful, but they removed tax rates in Total War Warhammer 3. So you can't really compound your income the way that you used to be able to. Diplomatic Relations +15 with the High Elves. Construction cost -10%, that's good. Servant of Isha, when 2 points put into that, you've got unlocked hero recruitment, handmaiden all provinces, hero recruit rank, and hero capacity +2. That's all very good. Spiritual Defender, reduced corruption, recruitment duration -1 turn for Sisters of Avalon units, because they normally take 2 turns to recruit, unless you're playing as Tyrion, who reduces the recruitment time of, in his faction trait that is, of all infantry units by 1 turn. So he's also able to recruit them in 1 turn without Alarielle, but it's still really good to get it. And then you've got melee defense +10 for Sisters of Avalon units for armies in a local province, not even if they're attached to her. Then with Blood and Fire, you've got upkeep cost reduction -10% for the Lord's Army, increased campaign movement range, Beacon of Hope for leadership, and melee defense +6 in the armies in local province. Gifts of Isha provides casualty replenishment rate, ward save for Alarielle, and armor for forest spirit units. Guardian of the Land for spell cooldown. Winds of Magic Power Reserve +15% when increasing. Again, this is mitigating this stuff here. And melee attack +9 for forest spirits. She's also got some unique skills up here. Ward of Isha for 10% ward save. Isha's Blessing for more Winds of Magic Power Reserve change. Again, mitigating this one. And miscast base chance. Then you got Touch of the Everqueen for weapon strength. And then melee attack when fighting against the vampires units and undead. And the weapon strength you get no matter what, but the melee attack is conditional. And then Chaos Bane. Again, bonus versus large, you get that anyway, but the melee attack is conditional to fighting against chaos. So overall, really powerful lord there. Now, if we have a look at her equipment, you get some more bonuses. So you've got one to begin with here. You've got the Staff of Avalon, which isn't really that powerful of a arcane item. Just provides power recharge rate plus 160%, which you can use at the start of the battle to eat up your reserves. And if we have a look here, the Shieldstone of Isha, melee defense +10, ward save +5, passibility Shieldstone of Isha, which provides a aura of effect, physical resistance +10%. So you could potentially get your treekin up to, or tree whatever, up to 50% with that. Casualty replenishment rate, character aura leadership effect +10, leadership aura size 35%, ability Star of Avalon, which is a good healing ability with the Star of Avalon there. And if you have all 3 of them, you get control all provinces and ward save +5%. That's something that she didn't get in Total War Warhammer 2. Then she's got her unique campaign mechanic, which is pretty much a light touch. It's basically a sizable nerf to your, or sizable debuff to your faction if Ulthuan has a lot of non-high elf factions existing there, but you will pretty much reduce this very early on because Tyrion is going to take out these dark elves here, which will automatically increase it. And once you get it up a fair bit, it'll start providing significant buffs. But it's not an active ability, so it's not that interesting. Diplomatic Relations -2 is nothing. That really should be -20. Control -3 is definitely a problem, especially on Legendary difficulty, but Alarielle mitigates it with her Power of Nature. And construction costs and decreased income from buildings is definitely a problem. But you can very quickly get rid of that problem and get buffs in that regard. Overall, I think that Alarielle's got a very interesting campaign in Total War Warhammer 3, and I'd highly recommend it. That's the end of this one here, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.